Hello, tournament fans. I'm Kill2 here with Ravy, and we have Ushra'Khan versus the heroic Hydra Reloaded.
And these are two very impressive setups for each side.
On the left, for Ushra'Khan, we have a Widow, 2 Drakes, 2 Rooks, a Scimitar, 2 Ishkers, and 2 Kitsune.
And on the right-hand side of your screen for Hydra Reloaded, we have a Balgorn, which is, in fact, the flagship for Hydra Reloaded. 3 Sleipnirs, a Scimitar, 2 Thrashers, and 3 Carries. It's worth noting that both of these teams warped in at what looks like max range at opposite beacons, so they're extremely far away from each other right now.
Yep, 50K is the furthest you can come in on the beacon, and it's random the angle you come in at compared to your opponent. These guys have gotten opposite angles and both come in at the max 50K with all of their ships, so it's 100K between them, and we're underway.
So what we're going to see is the Sleipnirs and Balgorn for Hydra Reloaded moving straight towards the opponents while they try to damp them down with the carries. But they're going to have to get into pretty close range in order to do damage, so at that point they'll probably be able to get locked by the Rooks.
Ooh, already an Ushra'Khan Kitsune going down. That's not good. They need as much jamming strength as they can get. If the Kitsune or if the carries get a chance to keep the Rooks locked down, that'll be really good news for Hydra.
And with that Kitsune disappearing so quickly, I'm calling it that this is almost definitely a artillery setup on the Sleipnirs as they used last round. We haven't had a chance to get a quick look at them yet, but yeah, this will be already set up, which is very clever in this case because they're able to knock through those small ships very fast.
Yeah, definitely. I am zoomed in, as you are not, on the Balgorn, which for now does not have a lock, but we can expect that because it's a flagship, he can field faction webs, as well as a lot of other really expensive mods, giving him kind of even more efficacy than usual.
Unlike last year, the fittings for the flagships don't have to be posted in advance, so we don't know exactly what they have fitted, but it's likely going to be some very expensive modules.
It could be ship scanners.
Yes,
but we
it
don't
could
know
just
for
be
sure.
nothing but ship scanners.
The first Rook starting to take damage for Ushra'Khan. Looks like Hydra's not being stopped from getting damage through, which is really...
We are seeing newts coming from the Balgorn now, which means he has a lock. It's going to be a big deal. Getting newts on those Rooks is going to make it so they can't jam and pretty much knock them out of the fight very quickly. Yeah.
Shield bots on the Balgorn. Is it possible that the Balgorn would be tanking in shields?
Oh, very likely, actually. The PL flagship last year was a shield tanking Balgorn. I really like that setup. And it's a very good setup when you want to do lots of damage as well as having all the neutralizing.
All right, so this Rook now headed way through shields and into structure. We're going to lose him any second here. And like a lot of these setups that depend on Ewar, it's going to get worse and worse for them as they lose more of their jamming.
Considering how well the Hydra team is tanking so far, I don't think there's much chance that Ushra'Khan's going to have against them. This is a very surprising setup. Even though we saw it yesterday, it still took me a while to realize the fact that we've got artillery on these Sleipnirs because you don't see it every day.
Yeah, I mean, why do the artillery to begin with? Obviously, Matar are doing pretty good damage from pretty good range when fielding autocannons, and for the most part, Sleipnirs are so fast that they can close range with no problem.
Well, in this case, it lets you take advantage of the damps from those carries, and it lets you do Alpha Strike, which breaks through, as we just saw a Kitsune explode, break right through the reps that are on those electronic attack frigates.
Right, so... things going better and better for Hydra. As you said, Kitsune are 2 down. We just lost the second Rook. So at this point, kind of just bare bones here for Ushra'Khan. Why the Widow?
Well, it's a jamming-themed team from the looks of it. The Widow actually does some decent damage alongside the jamming that it provides with torps or cruise missiles. But I'd say you'd probably be better off with a number of Rooks. We're seeing a Ishkur for Ushra'Khan going down now, getting hit by those artilleries, and still only slight shield damage to the Balgorn for Hydra, which is still the primary, it appears. He's still got painters on him and missiles hitting him.
Now, for the people in the forums who, despise PL for bringing jamming setups and how boring they are, there's some justice in this because, in this case, by now, the Ushra'Khan team probably can't really lock.
Yes, I mean, at this point, just about all their ships will be, well, except for that Widow, which is getting neuted and destroyed by the Balgorn, won't be able to lock due to the damps. And damps are extremely effective against a lot of ships. We saw Hydra use them last match yesterday as well.
Yeah. We've seen damps actually kind of, across tournament history, damps have actually been more dominant than ECM.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The Ishkur for Unity team actually did get repped up by their Scimitar, but the Widow is now dropping fast. He's been neuted for a couple seconds now, so he probably doesn't have any hardeners left, and he's now into structure and will be dead any second now.
Yep. He'll be dead, and then we'll just have these 2 Drakes, which, as we know, have around a 20% survival rate and probably an even lower win rate. Actually, speaking of win rate, we found out during one of the, I don't think we talked about this on the air, the curses actually have an extremely high win rate. When curses are fielded, the team they're on wins around 92% of the time so far, if I remember right.
At this point, Ushra'Khan's only hope is to try to get a few points, which probably won't help them because they'll be at 2 losses. So they're trying to pick off the Thrashers or carries for Hydra, but the Scimitar piloted by Count Monte Carlo is keeping them up quite effectively.
Yeah, no problem. There's so little damage here, even if something, I mean, I can assume that maybe it's like FOFs or something, you know, or maybe one of the Drakes happen to get close enough to take a shot or two.
Yeah, it could be drone aggro as well.
Drones. Yeah, but it's not going to be a real challenge for Count Monte Carlo to keep those guys up. At
this point, we have another one of the Ushra'Khan Drakes into armor and structure, and he's gone.
Yeah, it's, I guess they leave the Scimitar for last year because there's no way for the Scimitar to lock and get reps. So
at the moment, the Scimitar either has to stay far away, in which case he gets damped and doesn't get to lock anything, or he has to get within new range of that Balgorn, which is where he is right now, and can't actually do anything at all.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see the Balgorn more going forward in the tournament for Hydra?
I think the Balgorn is probably the strongest flagship, and they're making good use of it here. I think this is a setup that they could definitely make use of later.
Yeah, this looks real strong. So we're losing this Scimitar. After that, it'll be just one Drake. And so we are going to have Hydra 2-0, Pandemic Legion 2-0, both of them looking to leave the bracket without any issue. What kind of setups would you like to see them field? I'm curious. Let's make
I would love to see a all-hauler matchup.
You think so?
All Tech 1 haulers all the time on Saturday.
That'd be pretty nice. That'd be pretty nice.
It is worth noting that if Hydra does bring this Balgorn back, it may not be shield tank next time they do it, because you're allowed to change the fittings this year, unlike last year. So if someone's expecting it to be a shield tank and relies on that, it could really throw them off.
But of course, they can't even rely on them bringing it at all, so it's definitely tricky trying to predict what people are going to do. You know what I'd like to see? All battleships.
That would be very cool. You'd only be able to have like 4 or something with the points, but
I think each team should bring 6.
That would be an excellent match to watch.
So Last Drake headed into armor in just a second here, and that'll wrap it up. Now, does Ushra'Khan have a chance to get out of this group? They lost their first match as well to Pandemic Legion.
They lost their first match. They have now not killed a single ship and had 2 losses.
Nobody has any chance. This is all a group of death where only PL and Hydra will be getting out.
Yes, at this point, with Hydra's win, we now know that PL and Hydra are going to be the 2 teams that advance from this group.
And, of course, they'll get split and sent to opposite sides of the finals bracket, meaning we could have a repeat finals if these guys continue to perform.
It is possible if they manage to do well. It's definitely not guaranteed by any means, but it is one possible outcome. And we're seeing Duncan Tanner and his carries looting.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Hydra's going to be salvaging as well. I was told they had plans to salvage yesterday and were embarrassed because of their disconnects and boundary violations, but I think right here they might take the time.
That's a great use for the high slots on the carries, too.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's nothing else really to do with them. Might as well make a little extra ISK at the end of the match.
Yeah. God knows Garmin needs it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see right there, salvaging going on. Good job, Duncan Tanner.
That is some style points right there. Yes. The last Drake for Ushra'Khan is an armor. He's not taking a lot of damage. It looks like Hydra wants to finish salvaging the field before they finish them off. They've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to do so.
Pretty great, Hydra. Thank you for using our time.
Well, Hydra is always bringing entertaining setups. They're definitely one of the strongest teams, and it'll be great to see what they do going forward.
Yeah, now last year, one of the really important guys on the Hydra team was actually Admiral Gabarius, who has a history with Pandemic Legion.
Indeed. He was one of the members of our Goon Swarm B team this year, which unfortunately proved that 5-on-5 matches is the Achilles heel of Pandemic Legion. But
or at least the Achilles heel for Admiral Gabarius.
Yes, and Mr. Rive. But but no, he is a great great pilot and a lot of fun to fly with, and I'm glad to have him back in PL.
Yeah. All right, so they are working on this Drake now. Past armor.
Into structure and then stop. Oh, wait, there we go.
There we go. A little bit more. Okay, so Hydra's going to win. That's going to make them and PL get through this group, and we'll see them next weekend on Sunday for sure in the finals.
Well, on Saturday for sure, and then maybe on Sunday.
In Saturday, fielding the ships you vote for in the forums today, and on Sunday in the finals. So we'll send it back to the studio.